This I believe. Courage will lead you to do things you never would have imagined.
We all face challenges every single day of our lives, some big, some small. And when times get tough, we must decide. Should we give up or keep going? Should we back down in the face of this challenge, or will we keep pushing forward?
It takes something special inside all of us to not give up in trying times. We may be afraid, we may not know what lies ahead of us if we continue. But in these trying times, something builds up inside of us, something pushes us forward, courage.
1,000 Splendid Suns is a prime example of how courage can lead you to do things you never would have imagined you could do.
Miriam's courage in Khalid Hosseini's novel is constantly being put to the test as she's being pushed to the limit every day. Towards the end of the novel, Miriam's courage is put to the test as she's forced to stand up to Rashid, her and Layla's husband. She was never able to really have a voice for herself, let alone make her own decisions. One day, Rashid finds out news from Zalmay, Layla and Rashid's son, that Tariq, Layla's childhood love, had come to their house while Rashid was at work.
Rashid got so angry that he started to beat Layla with the belt, repeatedly. When Rashid stopped beating Layla, he turned to Miriam, but he doesn't get very far because Layla quickly stops him by jumping on his back. The fight gets so bad to the point where Miriam really believed that Rashid was about to kill Layla. She was not going to let that happen. So Miriam grabbed the shovel, and with that, Miriam brought down the shovel. This time, she gave it everything she had.
This blow with the shovel killed Rashid once and for all. This is a very significant point in the novel for Miriam and arguably her most brave and courageous act. Miriam used to be an innocent and pure little girl. Now she's a brave woman taking enormous lengths to protect someone she loves and cares about.
Most people would avoid doing things that scare them or even risk their safety, but not Miriam. Saving the people she loves and cares about is more important to her than her own life. Through courage, she overcomes all her fears and worries and does something she never thought she could.
The Other Wes Moore, a novel by Wes Moore, is another prime example of how courage can lead you to step out of your comfort zone and do things you may never have imagined.
Wes Moore is the author of this book. He had a difficult time growing up because of the death of his father, but after being sent to military school, his behavior and grades improved. He visits the other Wes Moore in prison to talk about the past. The other Wes Moore also had a difficult life growing up because of the absence of his father. He stayed in the streets and sold drugs and robbed a jewelry store and assisted in the death of a police officer. He now has been sent to life in prison. In the novel, it is seen how through courage, one can escape the cycle of poverty and despair, no matter how difficult it may seem. With the help of mentors and proper discipline, individuals can grow strong enough to make a change in their lives and help secure their futures. Wes Moore, the author, believes that if we keep pushing and have people push us forward, we can escape any bad situation.
Moore, the author, states, I found myself surrounded by people, starting with my mom, grandparents, uncles, and aunts, and leading to a string of wonderful role models and mentors who kept pushing me to see more than what was directly in front of me, to see the boundless possibilities of the wider world and the unexplored possibilities within myself. People who taught me that no accident of birth, not being black or relatively poor, being from Baltimore or the Bronx or fatherless would ever define or limit me.
Wes Moore was able to escape his poverty-stricken lifestyle and the gangs and drugs he grew up around in his poor neighborhood. The other Wes Moore did not escape that, and one of the biggest factors distinguishing their two shockingly similar stories is that the author was pushed in life. Instilled in him from a young age was a sense of bravery and courage and determination to succeed, even if it was hard. And finally, he did escape and move on to better things that he did not even know he could ever do.
Courage is a driving factor in various other songs, books, and more. One example being Everything, Everything, a novel written by Nicola Yoon. This novel is about 18-year-old Maddie Whittier, who's unable to leave her house because of an illness she has. Her mom tells her that she was born with severe combined immunodeficiency. Maddie eventually finds out from her doctor that her medical tests show no evidence of SCID and confronts her mom. She finds out that her mom has been lying to her for her entire life just because she is paranoid.
When Maddie finds out that she can go outside without getting sick, a sense of curiousness and bravery begin to overwhelm her. She wants to experience the world. Maddie eventually builds up the courage to leave her mom, which is something she never would have imagined she could do. Another work that connects to the idea of courage pushing us forward and allowing us to take risks is the Declaration of Rights of Women.
Susan B. Anthony was a well-known women's rights activist in the 1800s. She was a part of the National Women's Suffrage Association, or the NWSA. Anthony was extremely passionate about suffrage for women and wanted the same rights to be granted to everyone. On July 4, 1876, in Philadelphia, Anthony gave a speech that went down in history. At one point she says, I declare to you that woman must not depend upon the protection of man, but must be taught to protect herself, and there I take my stand. Women standing up for themselves was almost unheard of at this point in history. Anthony knew she had to stand up for what was right, and she built up the courage to speak for what she believed.
The last piece that connects to the idea of courage pushing us to do things we wouldn't normally do is seen in the song Carry On, written by the band Fun. The main message behind their hit song is about being able to keep going when times get tough. In the beginning of the song, the main singer sings passionately, "If you're lost and alone or you're sinking like a stone, carry on." In those lyrics, Bruce is saying that if you think you're done and you can't keep going, you actually can. The times you're at your lowest is when you need to build up the courage to do things you never imagined. Courage is being brave and having the strength to keep going even when times are tough. Even when you are so afraid of the consequences of your actions, but you keep going because you are strong and you know what needs to be done. Courage is not letting fear stop you in your tracks as you walk down the road to your goals. Courage is power, and when you are scared, when you are nervous, inside of you a fire will start to burn, and that fire is courage, and that courage will drive you to do things that you never thought you could do because of fear or judgment. But courage will triumph and you will succeed.